Every December, more than 35 million Christmas trees stand glowing inside American homes, filling living rooms with warm lights, pine fragrance, and the magic of the holiday season. But behind each tree is a journey almost no one sees. A journey that starts nearly 12 years before a family ever touches it. A journey across thousands of acres of farms, through mountains, valleys, rainstorms, blistering summers, and freezing winters. A journey shaped by human hands, skilled farmers, and massive machinery working together in one of America's most intense seasonal industries. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because today we're stepping inside one of the most magical and mind-blowing agricultural operations in the world. Its story begins more than 500 years ago in Northern Europe. Families in Germany and Scandinavia brought evergreen branches inside their homes as a sign of life during the darkest months of winter. By the 1500s, these branches evolved into decorated trees, simple evergreens adorned with apples, candles, and hand-carved ornaments. German immigrants carried the tradition to America in the early 1700s. But the Christmas tree didn't become mainstream until 1848, when a famous illustration of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert standing beside their decorated tree spread across the United States. Overnight, Americans fell in love with the idea. By the early 1900s, demand for Christmas trees exploded. But wild forests couldn't keep up. Millions of trees were being cut from natural woodlands every December. That's when a revolutionary idea emerged: grow Christmas trees like a crop. The first commercial Christmas tree farm opened in 1901 in New Jersey. It planted thousands of white pines specifically for the holiday market, something no one had ever done before. The concept spread rapidly. By the 1950s, entire states like Oregon, Michigan, and North Carolina transformed into Christmas tree powerhouses, cultivating vast plantations across mountains and valleys. Today, Christmas trees aren't taken from wild forests at all. They're grown on more than 15,000 farms, covering hundreds of thousands of acres. Each tree represents nearly a decade of care. Planting, shaping, trimming, and protecting, season after season. What began as a small European custom has grown into one of America's largest, most beloved, and most sustainable agricultural traditions. Unlike corn, wheat, or apples, which grow in months, a Christmas tree demands 8 to 12 years before it ever reaches a family's living room. Every tree you see at a supermarket or tree lot began its life nearly a decade earlier as a tiny seedling, just a few inches tall. A Christmas tree's iconic conical shape doesn't happen naturally. It is engineered year after year by skilled workers who sculpt the trees one branch at a time. When a tree reaches 3 to 4 years old, it begins its shaping phase. Each summer, crews walk row to row with long knives and shearing tools. These workers are unbelievably fast, swinging the knives with practiced precision. Each cut guides the tree's growth, making branches fuller, tighter, and more symmetrical. A single worker may shape 1,500 to 2,000 trees a day. Every tree is handled multiple times over the decade, adjusting its crown, balancing the density, and ensuring the tree grows upward rather than outward. A poorly shaped tree can't be fixed later. Farmers know each year's work determines the tree's price in the future. Beyond shaping, farmers must battle pests, weeds, frost, heat waves, and wildlife. Deer often chew tender shoots, forcing farmers to reshape damaged trees. Weather can destroy thousands of trees in a single cold snap. Still, over the years, the fields transform. What started as tiny seedlings becomes a sweeping sea of green. Millions of trees bordering each other, each one carefully sculpted into the holiday shape everyone recognizes instantly. And when these trees reach their full height, usually between 6 and 8 feet, they enter the most intense part of their journey: the harvest. The moment the harvest begins, America's Christmas tree farms transform into something that feels like a military operation. Hundreds of workers pour into the fields, fleets of machines spread out across thousands of acres. Truck engines rumble day and night. Everyone moves with urgency. Each tree is cut at the base using chainsaws or specialized saws designed for fast, clean cuts. Workers move in waves: cut, drag, pile. A well-trained crew can harvest 10,000 trees per day on a large farm. The cut trees are laid in rows, forming long green corridors that stretch across the hillsides. Then comes the baling, one of the most impressive steps. A machine shaped like a giant funnel compresses the branches inward and slides a net around the entire tree. In seconds, a dense 8-foot tree becomes a compact, easy-to-transport bundle. Each machine can wrap over 1,000 trees per hour. Workers load the wrapped trees onto massive trailers. Teams coordinate with hand signals, tossing trees rhythmically, like a human conveyor line. Some crews load 40 trees per minute. From here, trees are stacked onto semi-trailers, often reaching loads of 600 to 900 trees per truck, tightly packed in layers. One tree might travel 3,000 miles before it finds its way into a family's home. But before it reaches the store, it must be sorted, graded, and distributed. Just in time for Christmas. Workers move fast, using long poles to measure height, rotating bundled trees by hand, and stacking them according to size: 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, and the rare 10-foot giants. Big retailers dominate the market. Home Depot, one of the largest buyers, often purchases 3 to 4 million trees annually. Walmart may buy 2 million. Costco purchases around 1 million, mostly premium Noble and Fraser firs. Distribution centers act as temporary holding hubs. The trees must move quickly. If they sit too long, they dry out. From here, trucks deliver trees to lots, home improvement stores, garden centers, and roadside stands across the nation. The retail window is extremely tight. Peak sales happen within just 18 days. If a tree reaches a store after December 10th, its value drops dramatically. If it reaches after December 15th, it might not sell at all. So the entire logistics chain, planting, growing, shaping, cutting, wrapping, and shipping, is designed with one goal: deliver the perfect Christmas tree on time. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at America's Christmas tree industry, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because more giant-scale discoveries are on the way. Every 3 years, America's giant willow fields explode into activity. Massive machines sweep across the landscape, slicing entire rows of shrubs in seconds, shredding them into biomass fuel, and sending them into processing plants where they're transformed into clean, renewable energy. What used to be a forgotten species is now becoming one of America's most promising climate solutions. Today, we're going inside a harvest like no other. Where trees grow like crops, machines cut entire forests in hours, and science brings new life to sustainable energy. Welcome to the supergiant willow harvest. Before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because you won't want to miss what comes next. Why willow? Because it can grow 8 to 12 feet in a single season, reach full harvest size in 3 years, and then regrow from its own stump. That means a single planting can be harvested 7 or 8 times, producing biomass for 20 years. No replanting, no reseeding, just a cycle of growth, harvest, regrowth, and more harvests. Willow is the perfect climate crop. Its deep roots hold soil in place, preventing erosion. It absorbs large amounts of carbon dioxide, up to 10 tons per hectare per year. It requires no fertilizer once established and minimal irrigation. And unlike corn or soy, willow can grow on land considered too poor for food crops. Farmers call it the tree that grows where nothing else wants to. And because it regenerates from its base, willow can be cut to the ground and come back even stronger, like a perennial grass, but made of wood. This remarkable feature is what makes the giant willow harvest possible, a harvest where forests grow like fields and trees behave like renewable fuel plants. And now it's time to step into the fields, where the magic happens. Unlike regular tree nurseries that grow saplings, willow plantations begin with cuttings, pieces of stem taken from a healthy willow parent. These cuttings, usually 8 to 10 inches long, are collected in winter when the trees are dormant. Each cutting contains enough stored energy to sprout roots and leaves once spring arrives. Farmers use a machine that looks a bit like a corn planter, except it feeds cuttings into the soil vertically. As the machine moves forward, it pushes each cutting into the ground exactly 8 inches deep and exactly 2 feet apart. Willow fields are planted in long, uniform rows with tight spacing that maximizes biomass. 6,000 to 7,000 stems per acre. Once planted, willow grows explosively. In the first year, stems reach 4 to 6 feet. In year 2, they shoot up even faster. By the third year, a dense forest of slender stems, each about 2 inches thick, stands ready for harvest. These willow plantations don't look like typical forests. The stems are thin and flexible, swaying like giant grass in the wind. But while they seem delicate, they hold enormous energy potential. Each acre can produce 5 to 10 tons of dry biomass per harvest, enough to heat homes, generate electricity, or be turned into biofuels and pellets. During the growth period, willow requires almost no maintenance. Farmers may mow between rows to control weeds, but the trees themselves grow with little help. No fertilizer, no pesticides, and no irrigation, just sunlight, rain, and time. But the real magic comes after the harvest, because unlike other energy crops, willow doesn't die. When cut, each stump, called a stool, responds by sending up a burst of new shoots. Within weeks, green stems emerge again, beginning a new 3-year cycle. This regenerative ability means the same field can be harvested repeatedly for decades. It's one of nature's most efficient, renewable systems. A tree designed not for lumber, but for endless cycles of clean biomass. And now comes the most spectacular moment, when the machines arrive. When the third autumn arrives, willow farmers prepare for a harvest unlike anything in traditional agriculture. The machines used here are immense, hybrid harvesters adapted from European forage harvesters used in corn and sugarcane fields. But instead of cutting grass, these machines cut entire rows of trees. The star of the harvest is the cut and chip harvester. It moves through the field with a deep mechanical roar, its forward blades slicing through thousands of willow stems at the base. As the stems fall, powerful rollers pull them inside the machine, where rotating knives instantly shred the wood into small chips. Imagine cutting down a forest and processing it into fuel, all in one pass, all in real time. The chips flow through a chute and into a tractor trailer driving beside the harvester. Every few minutes, the trailer fills with steaming, freshly cut willow chips. The tractors rotate like clockwork, switching out full trailers for empty ones without stopping the harvester. The entire operation moves like a factory on wheels. A single machine can harvest 20 to 30 tons of willow per hour. Entire fields that took 3 years to grow can be harvested in just a day or two. From above, drones capture the breathtaking movement. Long straight rows collapsing and disappearing behind the harvester, leaving clean-cut stumps that will sprout again in spring. The willow harvest is unique in agriculture because the crop regenerates. No plowing, no reseeding, no tilling, just pure renewable growth. But the chips aren't useful in raw form. They must go through a giant processing system to become usable fuel. And that brings us to the next phase of this incredible journey. Once harvested, willow chips are transported to large biomass processing centers. These plants look a bit like lumber mills, but their purpose is very different. Instead of making boards or furniture, these factories turn wood into fuel. First, the willow chips are dried. Freshly harvested willow contains up to 50% moisture, too wet for efficient burning. The chips are placed inside giant drying drums, rotating cylinders heated with low-temperature waste heat from nearby industrial plants. As the chips tumble, warm air removes excess moisture and reduces the weight by half. Once dried to 15 to 20% moisture, the chips are screened. Oversized chunks are rechipped. Dust and bark particles are separated and used as soil amendments or compost. Next comes pelleting, a step that compresses the chips into dense cylinders. The dried willow enters a pellet mill, where it is squeezed through small holes at high pressure. The heat from compression binds the natural lignin inside the wood, forming smooth, shiny pellets with no chemicals or glue. These pellets are packaged into bags for home heating, stored in bulk for biomass power plants, or transported to industrial boilers. Because willow burns cleanly and consistently, it's ideal for energy production. Some facilities don't pelletize the willow at all. They feed chips directly into biomass power stations, where they fuel turbines that generate electricity. In upstate New York, entire communities receive clean energy from willow-fueled plants. Even the leftovers from processing, dust, fibers, and bark, are composted or used to restore soil health on nearby farms. Nothing goes to waste. If you enjoyed this journey through America's renewable energy forests, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because we have many more incredible stories coming your way. Stories of nature, stories of industry, stories of how everyday materials are grown, harvested, processed, and transformed into the world we rely on.
It wasn't ready yet. Can't remember what happened. I think we had some mediums with root in it, and this thing had issues.
Every year in America's largest bee farms, over 40 billion bees work together to produce more than 1 million liters of honey, enough to fill nearly 500,000 jars. This isn't backyard beekeeping, it's high-tech honey farming on an industrial scale, powered by advanced agriculture technology, smart sensors, and precision extraction systems. Today, we're going inside the biggest bee farms in the United States to reveal how billions of tiny insects and cutting-edge machines create one of nature's sweetest miracles. Stay with us, because the process behind your jar of honey is more fascinating than you might ever imagine.